Grant Hardin is a former cop who in Arkansas was convicted of taking a fella out that he shouldn't have. Like, it wasn't even a in the line of duty situation. This guy just took somebody out. While all that was going on, they ran his DNA, found out at random at a school that was this was he found this woman at a school where they were having a church service on a Sunday 15 years before. He took her or forced her somewhere and forced himself intimately on her. Yes, I'm recording this for both YouTube, so if you're on Rumble, sorry if I'm sounding stupid, but I put this on both. This guy gets convicted of both, is in prison, and he escapes like a month ago. They find him. He's only like 1.5 miles away. I don't understand. Like, this whole story is like some weirdness to begin with. So, the Arkansas legislature held a session and investigated what happened. I'm about to play you a clip of the chairman of corrections, of the Department of Corrections, and the warden of the prison that this Grant Hardin fella escaped from. Prisons in this country, we have so many prisoners, and it's costing so much money that these folks are getting paid very little money. Now, maybe that's different on the federal side. I don't know, but states and the correctional industry pays little money, barely pay over minimum wage in a lot of instances. And it's still better paid than a lot of other jobs, but the quality of correctional officers, the quality of staff at these, while yes, some of these folks are working hard and doing their best, there is still a quality issue with others on this, and it showed by this guy escaping. So I'm going to let you hear what they had to say in the testimony. I want to thank Arkansas Online. This is where this is from. That. I'm glad that somebody was able to record this. If you ain't redneck, y'all might have a problem understanding these folks, but give it a minute. That being said, hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm trying to grow to 1,000 and all that. And if you feel like being a really nice person, I have a Patreon. If you're on Rumble, or if you want to do it via my YouTube, my link tree down below has my Patreon down there. If you want to be nice and you're on YouTube, you can join via YouTube. It's only a couple of bucks for the low end, and I'll actually like there are things that I want to do with folks that are willing to help me out that way. I'm trying to raise some money up so I can get better equipment and everything. So, but let's get into this video.
Howdy y'all, this is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Sheriff Magnus, was there any employees involved in this incident?
Involved in the incident as far as helping
Yes.
Mr. Hardin? No, not that we can tell in our interviews or any other evidence we have been able to turn out so far. No.
Okay, so no employee involvement at all?
No.
Okay.
Other than not following policy and allowing the inmate out on the kitchen dock unsupervised, or letting the gate open on the Sally Port. But as far as being a part of the escape with Mr. Hardin, no, can't find anything.
All right, now, Mr. Magnus, let's clarify some things. You said that there was some policy violated.
Yes,
As
it
it
was.
relates, is it related to employees, some of the, what employees have done?
The employee that was in the kitchen, the kitchen supervisor, allowed Mr. Hardin to go outside the kitchen and work on the back dock without being supervised, which is against policy. Then the guy in the tower that let him through the gate, you don't open that gate for anybody or anything when there's not a ground person there to verify who it is wanting to exit the prison. And 2 policies were violated there, and those 2 employees have been terminated.
I mean, my whole point is timing is everything, and I think that notification time and that timeline is a big stickler and a big problem for me, and I think many members of this committee, when they see that timeline, they're going to have the same problem, because there were Arkansans' lives that were in harm and in harm's way for that 2-hour period. That we're just, thank God that Hardin didn't run into someone outside those prison walls and harm someone, and that's what we're agitated about. That's the big issue with me, is who was in charge and why was there not notification sooner? And maybe someone can answer that today.
I can only tell you when I was notified and when I finally got in there, all the agencies that I felt like should have been notified, I heard them on the radio.
Wow.
And so I can't, other than that, I can't
Well,
tell you.
I'll just say, I thank you for your testimony and taking time to come today, and hopefully we'll get some insight and some answers and maybe get a tighter ship moving forward.
You had mentioned that there was discovery of how the individual was able to get outside the kitchen and through a gate, and that those 2 employees had been terminated for violating policy. With that in mind, I was under the impression that a component of his escape was a disguise that allowed him to look like security personnel or prison staff. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you done some type of independent review or an outside review that has determined how he was able to procure a disguise, put it on, and have all of that take place without any notice?
A few things that I can say that I've seen, and a couple of things that I was told. I want to make sure I make that clear. It was my understanding that that became available to him a black marker, regular black marker, and that's how he dyed his clothes to make it look dark. I did actually see the little badge that he made out of a soup can top, and I actually physically seen that, and I also of course seen his ID that he lost in the woods. But those are the items I've seen, but the one, how he got it dark, I can only assume, as I was told, that he used a magic marker to darken his clothes.
What is the root cause? Where did this start? Where if we changed this, we wouldn't have to worry about all the things downstream. In your opinion, is the wood?
We had 2 chances to prevent this. We failed on both. The officer in the kitchen had directed us not to allow this inmate to go out there, and he did. The officer in the tower allowed this inmate to go through both gates and never asked who he was. I spoke to that officer personally and asked him, why did you let that person out? His comment to me was he thought it was an option. They were complacent in their job duties. And when you have somebody complacent like that, bad things happen, unfortunately. We had the policies in place. We had the procedures in place. They just didn't follow them.
Clearly, they weren't one-offs. How often do y'all do your own assessments to make sure that your employees are following protocol, especially at entry points and exit points?
We have seasoned staff, and the staff that's on these positions have post orders that are followed. They're signed these post orders daily. We have people that work at the Sally Port gate itself, but this was on a weekend, this was on a Sunday. The incident took place, there should not have been anyone coming through that gate at that time during what was going on. And that's a fail on our part.
Through this experience, I was just curious from a leadership perspective, what have you and your team learned through this that will be beneficial moving forward?
To check and double check, to make sure that we take care of things that need to be taken care of, that we follow our policies and procedures. What we're looking at now is this inmate was assigned to that kitchen area for 7 years. He worked in that same job for that long period of time. And that's way too long. So that's something that we're going to focus on and look at to see. We don't need someone that gets that comfortable, because in a period of time like that, staff gets comfortable. You lose that perspective of security first. And that's something that we can't do.
We really do have a problem when it comes to our corrections industry, whether it's government side or private industry. And I've got a problem with corporations that are running the correctional industry to begin with. Thanks to it's how it's worded in the amendment. When people are convicted of a crime, especially if they get sent to prison, they can basically be treated as free labor. They're not, that's changing, but this has been a thing. And so folks that serve their time get forced into staying there because these companies and the public prisons that use industry as a way to raise money force these folks to stay in prison for a lot longer. And you're like, well, these are criminals. Yeah, but let me ask you a question. If you go out there, something happens, and you commit a crime without meaning to commit the crime, but you still committed the crime, uh, vehicular homicide, uh, any number of crimes that you may not know that you're committing, or you're found guilty of something that honestly you shouldn't have been found guilty of. I would say better than half of the January 6 people committed actually no crime, in my opinion, of looking at everything. Look what those folks went through. So now you've got this, you're in prison, and you could end up in a prison that uses prison labor to manufacture goods. Um, so you're basically working below minimum wage to raise the profits of a company or a government entity. You tell me. Then, on top of that, these folks that are correctional officers are getting paid low. And I do mean low. Like, we're talking like less than $10 an hour in some places. A lot of places. Most places get paid less than $10 an hour, so that leaves them open to bribes, which leads to them bringing in drugs, bringing in other paraphernalia that they, or other contraband that they shouldn't be bringing in. So you have this problem. And you heard what was done with this Hardin fella. This, these folks aren't paid enough to care. I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. They ain't paid enough to care. You've got somebody that looks like he's willing to work, which, I mean, hey, he used that as a psyop to escape from prison. This is what's going on in our prison system. And to know that people are escaping, well, I hate to tell you this, but when you've got a judicial system that is overloading the system with folks, look at how many January 2nd or January 6th folks ended up there. Um, they're overloaded with so many bad things. And don't get me wrong, there are people that I want in prison. There are people that, in all honesty, shouldn't make it even to prison. But that's the redneck in me, and I'll admit that it's a redneck in me, and that is why I am glad that there are other people in charge of that, because I might have a problem with somebody that does things to a child, or even, that southern man in me. I can't say gentleman. You do certain things to women, like what Hardin did. I don't think that, prison time's necessarily good. We get to the point in this country where we screwed up our justice system. It's no longer a justice system. And I am a small government conservative. What I see with the justice system violates small government. All the ideals of small government. I am not saying that people shouldn't be punished. I am saying that how we go about it is broken. And what just happened with Hardin proves that. We need to fix it, but nobody's stepping up. And too many people are going, well, you just need to throw these people in jail. Really? If somebody gets busted with no firearms, no weapon of any sort for just marijuana possession, I have no problems if they don't go to jail. In all honesty, I don't think that should be a crime. God put marijuana on this earth. Do I smoke it? I have. I'd be a hypocrite if I said I haven't. And I don't have a problem with it, but that's not the reason why I don't have a problem with it. The problem is that, well, God put it on this earth. It is not addictive unless you have a personality issue. People go, no, you physically get. No, you don't get physically addicted. You get psychologically addicted. But I'm going on a rant because we have a broken justice system. And I want you to think about that. You might disagree with me, but in all honesty, I want you to think about this. I want you to actually do research in this, because we have a system in which about a quarter of the people, a fifth to a quarter of the people of this nation, spend time in prison. There's something wrong with that, especially with what some of these people have been convicted of. But you can disagree with me, but I want you to do your own research on this. Instead of sitting there and being stuck in your own thought process, which I have on more than one occasion been that way, I want you to research this and even read the liberal sources. And I'm not saying become a liberal, don't have liberal ideals or anything like that, but some of them put facts into this. We need to talk about this. We really do. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Well, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.